The newly hired male VP claims he's married to the female CEO. I turned to my wife and asked calmly, "How long has this been a thing?" Panic hit her instantly. She snapped at HR. "Fire him. Make this right for my husband." The crystal chandelier's glare burns my eyes. Over 300 Starlight Tech executives from all over the world sit in the audience, every face stretched into an expectant grin. Today is the company's annual Global Leadership Summit, and it's Swan's biggest moment as CEO. She's in a perfectly tailored white suit up on the stage, calm, confident, holding the crowd in the palm of her hand. Everyone envies me. They say I hit the jackpot marrying such a capable wife that I must have saved the universe in a past life to mooch off my wife and live this good. To them, I'm just a code-obsessed tech nerd, a deadbeat kept man living off his wife's success. No one knows I built Starlight Tech from scratch. No one knows every single line of core tech code was written by me through endless all-nighters. No one knows I'm the company's majority shareholder, holding 51% of its stock. 4 years ago, Swan cried to me. She said she wanted to be a female CEO, stand up on stage and soak up everyone's applause. I hated seeing her upset, so I handed her full control of the company. I stepped down as CEO, stayed behind the scenes, took a lowly tech director title. I handed her every last bit of credit, turned her into the admired girl so everyone looks up to me. I was happy to be the man behind her holding down the tech fort for her. These past 4 years, I've pulled late shifts every single night, cracking one tech hurdle after another. I'm the one who turned Starlight Tech from a 5-person startup into the 10 billion industry leader it is today. But now everyone only credits Swan. No one remembers what I gave up for this. I thought if I was good to her, if I kept giving quietly, we'd stay happy forever. I was wrong. People change, especially when you get that high. Up, surrounded by nothing but flowers and praise. Next, I'd like to introduce a new member of our team. Swan's voice rings out again. Let's give a warm round of applause to our new executive vice president, Shenzhe. Thunderous applause erupts across the room. A handsome man in a tailored black suit walks out from backstage. That's Shenz, Swan's college classmate, the one that got away a month ago. Swan told me Shenzhe was a top talent coming back from overseas, super capable, and she wanted to bring him on as VP. I didn't push back then. Thought it was just a regular work hire. But now watching them lock eyes and smile, that knowing smile up on stage, my stomach drops through the floor. Shenzhe walks up to Swan and takes the mic. He smiles and bows to the crowd first, then does something that shocks everyone present. He reaches out and clears throat, wraps his arm around Swan's waist. Swan's body visibly tenses up, but she doesn't push him away. The applause dies instantly. Everyone freezes. Shenz looks out at the crowd, grinning. "Hi, everyone. I'm Shenz. I'm so grateful for CEO Sue's trust and for all of your support from me and my wife Swan. Moving forward, CEO Sue and I will lead Starlight Tech to even greater heights." The words, "my wife," slam into my chest like a hot knife. The entire room erupts into chaos. Wait, President Shun is Sue Wan's husband. What about Director Gu? Isn't he Swan's husband? Holy _ what is happening? This is wild. No way. Did Director Gu just get cucked? Every single eye in the room snaps to me. There's pity, mockery, and pure schadenfreude. I'm sitting in the front row, face completely blank. I don't rush the stage to fight Shenzhe like everyone expects. I don't yell or scream in rage. I just turn my head slowly and lock eyes with Swan up on the stage. Her face is as white as a sheet, eyes wide with panic and confusion. She never could have guessed Shenzhe would drop a bomb like this at such a critical event. "Ich stelle her," my voice dead steady. Not a single ripple of emotion in it. How long has this been going on? Those simple words hit Sue Wan like a thunderclap, right next to her ear. She flinched so hard the microphone in her hand nearly slipped to the floor. The audience below the stage went dead silent instantly. Everyone held their breath, eyes fixed on Swan on the stage, waiting for her answer. Swan's lips trembled. She couldn't squeeze a single word out for ages. Shanzi, however, stared at me with a smug look, his eyes brimming with provocation, as if he was saying, "See, your wife loves me." I ignored him completely, only keeping my eyes on Swan quietly. I wanted to see how she would answer. A full 30 seconds passed before Swan finally snapped back to her senses. She shoved Shenzei's hand away hard and barked at the HR manager below the stage. "Manager Lin, fire him right now immediately. Make this right for my husband." Manager Lin froze for a split second, then caught on immediately. He gave a subtle nod to the security guards nearby, and the two of them marched onto the stage right away, holding Shenzei by the arms. "Swan, what the hell are you doing?" Shanzi yelled as he struggled. "We had a deal. How could you do this to me? What nonsense are you spouting?" Swan cut him off sharply. "I don't even know you. If you run your mouth one more time, I'm calling the cops." Shanzei stared at Swan in disbelief. He never would have thought that Swan would turn on him and disavow their past so quickly. The security guards hauled Shenzei out of the venue. As he was dragged away, he glared back at me viciously, mouthing silently, "You wait." I ignored him, only looking at Swan. She averted her gaze, forced a calm tone, and addressed the audience below. "Sorry, everyone. That was just a misunderstanding. Mr. Sean got drunk and talked nonsense. Let's get back to the meeting." But none of the executives in the audience were in the mood to continue the meeting at all. Everyone was whispering, discussing what had just happened. Swan looked at the chaotic scene below, her face turning even grimmer, her fingers clenched tightly into fists out of nervousness. I stood up and walked out of the venue quietly, not greeting anyone. Sunlight fell on me, but there wasn't a single trace of warmth. I knew whatever we had between us, it was over. I didn't head home. I went straight to the tech department office. The second old Joe saw me walk in, he hurried over to greet me. "Clear's throat, mister." "Goo, are you okay?" Old Joe's face was etched with worry. Old Joe was my ride or die who built the company with me from scratch, and the only person who knew my real identity. He'd always hated what Swan was doing and had tried multiple times to talk me into taking back full control of the company, but I'd held off out of respect for our marriage. "I'm Fine," I said flatly. "That Shinza is such a piece of work." Old Zhao fumed. How dare he run his mouth like that at such a critical meeting? And President Su, what was she thinking hiring a scumbag like that? I said nothing, walked over to the window, and stared down at the endless stream of traffic below. I felt no anger, only bone-deep exhaustion. Truth is, I'd known all along I'd found out about Swan and Shenzei's affair 2 whole years ago. That day, I left work early to surprise Swan, but in our bedroom, I found a men's shirt that wasn't mine and a used condom. In that second, my whole world came crashing down. I didn't call her out on the spot. I still clung to a sliver of hope. Maybe it was just a stupid mistake. I thought if I treated her better, she'd eventually come to her senses and come back to me. But I never thought my patience would only make her bolder. Her affair with Shen's got more and more blatant. She started working overtime nonstop, barely coming home. She grew colder and more impatient with me by the day. Worse, she started working with Shenzi to siphon off the company's assets bit by bit. They secretly set up their own company, moving all of Xinhua Tech's core clients and proprietary technology over to it. Their plan was simple. Once they drained most of the company's assets, they'd kick me out, get together openly, and take full control of Xinhua Tech for themselves. I knew all of it. I was just waiting for the right moment, the perfect chance to ruin them completely. And today, that one line Shenzei dropped at the executive meeting, that was the perfect opening. "Mr. Gu, what do we do next?" Old Joe asked. "Stick to the original plan," I said calmly. "Got it?" Old Joe nodded. Right then, my phone rang. It was Swan. I hesitated for a second, then picked up. "Guan, where are you?" Swan's voice had a faint edge of panic to it. "At the office." I said, "Don't leave. I'm coming over right now." With that, she hung up. 10 minutes later, Swan pushed open the door to the tech department office. Panic was still written all over her face, her hair slightly messy. The second she saw me, she rushed over and grabbed my hand. "Guyan, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Her eyes were red, looking all vulnerable and pitiful. That was all a misunderstanding just now. Shenzei was drunk. He was talking nonsense. We're really just old classmates. Nothing more. He stared at her, said nothing, just wondering how far she'd keep this act up. I'm telling the truth. Guyan, believe me, Swan said urgently. There's really nothing between us. I already fired him. He'll never show up in front of us again. Don't be mad. Okay, I'm not mad, I said evenly. Really? Swan's eyes lit up, thinking I'd actually bought her lie. Eminência. I nodded. I am tired. I want to go home and rest. Okay, let's go home, Swan said immediately. I'll make your favorite braised pork for you. The whole ride home. Swan chattered nonstop, trying to lighten the mood. I just listened silently. No response. When we got home, Swan headed straight for the kitchen and got busy, like she said she would. I sat on the living room couch, staring at her back as she moved around the kitchen. I felt no warmth, no touch of gratitude, only endless bitter irony. This woman is all over another guy behind my back, yet she's still putting on the perfect devoted wife act right in front of me. Does she ever get tired of it? I stand up and walk over to the shoe rack by the door. Swan's car keys are right on top of it. I grab the keys, head downstairs, and unlock her car. I dig around the glove compartment on the passenger side and find a men's wallet. Inside is Shenzei's ID, plus a couple's ring. It's the exact same design as the one on my finger. Mine's been on my hand for 4 years. Hers, she tossed it who knows where ages ago. I head back upstairs with the ring. Swan's already finished cooking. She's walking out of the kitchen, carrying a plate, when she spots the ring in my hand. All the color drains from her face instantly. The plate slips from her grip with a loud clatter, food spilling all over the floor. Guan, where did you find this? Swan's voice is shaking. In your car? My tone is flat as I set the ring on the dining table. This isn't mine. Swan scrambles to explain. Shenzei must have left it in my car by accident. I had no idea this ring was even there. I don't say a word, just stare at her quietly. Her eyes dart everywhere, too scared to meet my gaze. Go, Yen, you have to believe me. It's not what you think. Swan sobs. There's nothing going on between him and me. You're the only one I've ever loved. I stand up and step in front of her, wiping the tears off her face gently. I get it. Let's eat. Swan freezes. She never thought I'd buy her lie that easily. Guan, you're not mad at me? She asks, disbelieving. Mad about what? I smile. It's just a ring. No big deal. Let's eat. The food's getting cold. Swan stares at me, a shocked, happy smile spreading across her face. She thinks I've actually forgiven. Her thinks that if she bats her eyes and says, sorry, I'll let her off the hook unconditionally, just like I always used to. What she doesn't know is this is just the calm before the storm. I pick up the broken plate off the floor and toss it in the trash, then sit down at the table, pick up my chopsticks, and eat slowly. Swan sits across from me, piling food onto my plate nonstop, a bright, happy smile on her face. She thinks this whole thing is over. Thinks she can keep playing the perfect devoted wife, thinks her plan to steal all my assets can still go off without a hitch. What she doesn't know, the second she picked up that couple's ring, her doomsday countdown started that night. Swan sleeps like a log. Maybe it's from how stressed she was all day. Maybe it's because she truly thinks I've forgiven her. I sit on the edge of the bed, staring at her sleeping face. I loved this face for 7 whole years. From the second I fell for her at first sight in college to building our business together after graduation. I thought we'd be together forever. But now, looking at this face, all I feel is strangeness and disgust. I pick up the couple's ring and set it on the nightstand, then get up and leave the bedroom. I head to the study and turn on my computer. It's got every single piece of evidence I've collected over the past 2 years. Hotel security footage of Su Wan and Shenzei, their chat logs, hotel check-in records, bank statements proving they embezzled company assets, forged contracts, even audio recordings of them plotting to push me out of the company. Every last one of these is enough to ruin them for good. I stare at the evidence on the screen, my gaze ice cold. Swan Shens. Every last thing you owe me. I'm taking it all back, bit by bit. First thing the next morning, I showed up at the office right on schedule. Same as usual. Swan was already there. The second she spotted me, she walked over with a big smile. Morning. Good yen. She looped her arm through mine cozily. Sleep well last night. I slept fine. I spoke flatly, yanking my arm free. Swan's smile froze for a split second, then bounced right back. Good, she said. I already had HR finish all of Shenzei's termination paperwork. He'll never show his face around here again. Ham. I nodded, didn't bother saying anything else, and turned to head for the tech department. Swan stared at my back, frowning. Something felt off about me today. She could tell, but she couldn't put her finger on exactly what. She shook her head, brushing the thought off. She thought once Shenzei was gone, the whole mess would be over for good. She thought I was still that spineless kept man who did whatever she said. She had no idea a massive __ storm was heading straight for her. The second I got to the tech department, I called an all-hands meeting team. I called you all here for one major announcement. I looked at the tech seated in front of me, effective immediately. We're pausing all external licensing of our core tech. All active products go into mandatory upgrade and maintenance mode. The room erupted immediately. Mr. Goo, why the sudden pause on tech licensing? Yeah, our products are running perfectly fine right now. Why do we need to upgrade and maintain them? This is going to make a ton of our clients furious. Everyone was talking over each other. Confused as hell why I'd made that call. This is an official company decision. I said evenly. This round of upgrades and maintenance is to fix potential security vulnerabilities and boost product performance. I hope you all understand. Wait, does President Su know about this? A young tech asked. I'll fill her in. I said now, everyone get moving on this right away. Lo, you're in charge of oversight. Got it, Mr. Goo. Lau nodded. The tech still had a ton of questions, but they followed my orders anyway, heading back to their desks one by one to carry out the tech suspension procedures. 30 minutes later, all products under Starlight Tech were taken offline. Every client received a system maintenance notification. Word got to Swan almost instantly. She called me right away. Go, Yen. What the hell is going on? Why did you suddenly pause all tech licensing? Swan's voice was tight with rage and confusion. I'm running a tech upgrade and maintenance cycle. I said calmly. Tech upgrade and maintenance. Why didn't I hear a single thing about this? Swan demanded. This is huge. Why didn't you run this by me first? Tech stuff is my jurisdiction. I said, stick to your side of the business. Company operations. You. Swan was so furious she could barely speak. Go, Yen. Don't you dare push your luck. I'm the CEO of this company. Any major decision like this needs my sign-off. Restore the tech licensing right now. No can do. I said flatly. The upgrade and maintenance will take a full week. Everything will be back to normal once the week's up. A week? Swan shrieked. Are you out of your mind? A 1-week pause. We'll lose millions. Tons of clients will jump ship. Do you even realize how much responsibility that is? Can you cover that? I can cover it. I said, Gu Yen. Swan snarled through gritted teeth. I'm ordering you to restore the tech licensing right now, or I'll fire you from your CTO position immediately. Suit yourself. I said, and hung up straight away. Swan listened to the deadline, then smashed her phone onto the floor in a rage. Joe Yan, you bastard. She screamed hysterically. She could never have imagined that the guy who used to do every single thing she told him to would ever dare treat her like this. She called an emergency meeting immediately, summoning all department heads. The tech department just pulled all tech licensing out of nowhere. None of our products work anymore. Swan snarled. Customer complaint calls are blowing up our lines right now, and our losses are piling up by the second. Spit it out. What do we do? The department heads traded awkward glances. No one said a word. Everyone knew tech was the company's lifeline, and every single core patent was in Guyan's hands. No one could reinstate the licensing without his go-ahead. Say something. All of you got your tongues tied. Swan slammed her fist on the table. Mess. Sue. The marketing manager spoke up carefully. Maybe you should go have a proper talk with Mr. Goo. He's the only one who can get the licensing back after all. That's right, Ms. Sue. The sales manager chimed in. Clients are already rioting over this. If this keeps up, our losses will be catastrophic. Swan stared at the room, shaking with rage. She never expected no one would have her back. Every single one of them was telling her to beg Gwen. She was the CEO, for God's sake. Begging a lowly tech director. How the hell was she supposed to swallow that? But she had no other options. If the licensing didn't come back, the company would flat out go under. Suwon took a deep breath, forcing her rage down. Fine, I'll go talk to him. She spoke through gritted teeth. She stood up, marched out of the conference room, and headed straight for the tech department. When she stepped into the tech department, she spotted me sitting in front of my computer, sipping coffee like nothing was wrong, like the whole company burning down outside had nothing to do with me. Swan fought back her fury, walked over to my desk. Go, Yen, we need to talk, she said. I looked up at her. Talk about what? I asked about reinstating the tech licensing. Swan said, Guan, I know you're still mad about what happened yesterday. I already apologized. I fired Shenzei. What more do you want? I'm not mad. I said flatly, I'm just doing my job. Doing your job by tanking the whole company. Swan snapped. Quit being a brat. Go, Yen. Reinstate the licensing right now, or the company will go bankrupt for real. Good. Let it go bankrupt. I stared at her, enunciating every word. If it goes under, we're all free. Swan froze, staring at me in disbelief. She saw a cold, unshakable resolve in my eyes that she'd never seen before. In that moment, it hit her. I wasn't throwing a tantrum. I meant every word. Guan, what? What the hell are you doing? Swan's voice shook. I looked at her and smiled. Nothing much. I said, I just want you to know who actually calls the shots around here. Swan's face drained of color instantly. It finally clicked for her. The guy she'd always written off. As a useless kept man had been hiding his true power this whole time. He wasn't spineless. He'd just been tolerating her. And now he was done playing nice. Swan stared at me for the first time. She felt genuine fear. She knew she'd messed with the wrong person, and she was in deep underscoring this canal. Day one of the tech outage. Starlight Tech took a loss of over 5 million renminbi. More than 200 clients flooded the hotline with complaints demanding refunds and damages. Day two of the outage. Losses ballooned to 12 million renminbi. Over 30 clients filed formal contract termination requests. Day three of the outage. The company's stock plummeted 20%. None of the shareholders could sit still. They blew up Swan's phone, demanding answers on what the hell was going on. Swan was swamped. She spent every day apologizing and explaining to the shareholders. She came to me over and over, begging me to restore the tech license. She even dropped every last shred of dignity and knelt in front of me to plead. I said no, told her we had to wait a full week. It'd be back once the week was up. No, exceptions. Swan was out of options. She had to grit her teeth and hold on. She pinned all her hopes on the board of directors, teaming up with 3 board members whose stakes were held by her family. She called an emergency board meeting, planning to oust me from my position as technical director. She thought once I was gone, she could get someone else to restore the tech license. The company didn't need me to keep running. What she didn't know, I wrote every single line of Starlight text, core code myself. No one but me could understand it. No one but me could restore the license. Friday afternoon, the emergency board meeting kicked off on schedule. The conference room was thick with tension. Every director had a dark scowl on their face. All eyes locked on Swan in the head seat. Swan, what the hell is going on? Director Jang was the first to speak, his voice ice cold. Why did the tech shut down out of nowhere? It's been 3 days. Why haven't we fixed it yet? Calm down. Director Jang Swan rushed to speak. This is all Guyan's fault. He intentionally shut down the tech license out of personal spite. To get back at the company, personal spite. What kind of personal spite? Director Jang asked. Swan hesitated. She didn't bring up Shenzer, it would ruin her reputation. Just some silly couples fight. Swan mumbled vaguely. He's throwing a tantrum, deliberately going against me. Ridiculous. Director Jang snapped furious. This company belongs to all of us. How dare you let your petty marital drama hurt every shareholder's interests? I know I messed up. Director Jang Swan said. That's why I called everyone here today. I'm proposing we remove Gwen from his post as technical director. Then we'll hire other techs to restore the license. Remove Guyan. Director Jang frowned. Who's going to replace him? Gwen built every bit of Starlight Tech's core tech himself. No one else understands it. Why wouldn't there be? Someone Swan said. There's tons of top tech talent out there. Throw enough money at them, and we'll definitely find someone better than Guyan. Swan, you're being naive. Director Jang said. This core tech is Guyan's life's work. No one can use it without his authorization, even if we find the best tech talent alive. They can't crack that code in such a short time. Forget about restoring the license. Then what do? We're just going to let Guyan do whatever he wants. Suwon said. Panicked. Of course not. Director Jang said. But we can't fire him either. The only option right now is to talk to Guyan properly. Get him to restore the license. I've talked to him so many times. He won't listen at all. Swan said right then. The conference room door slammed open. I walked in with Lawyerly. Everyone froze. No one expected me to show up. Swan's face turned deathly pale the second she saw me. Guyan, who let you in? This is a board meeting. You have no business being here. She snarled. Why can't I be here? I looked at her, voice calm. I'm a shareholder of this company. The largest one. In fact, of course, I have every right to be at this board meeting. Largest shareholder. Swan laughed. Quit messing around. Guyan, I'm the clear's throat majority shareholder here. I hold 45% of the company's shares. You only have 5%. What kind of largest shareholder are you? The other directors all nodded along. They all thought Swan was the company's top shareholder. I smirked, took a document from Lawyerly, and tossed it on the table. See for yourselves. Swan picked up the document, confused. The second she read what was on it, her face drained of all color, pale as a sheet. It was an original share certificate, and the text was crystal clear. Guan holds 51% of Starlight Technologies shares. No, that's impossible. Suwon's hand shook violently as she gripped the paper. It's fake. You forged it. You know damn well if it's fake or not. I said coldly, for years ago, you said you wanted to be CEO. So, I transferred 46% of my shares to your name. But we signed a holding agreement back then. Those shares are only held in your name. Actual ownership still belongs to me. Holding agreement. How come I never heard of this? Swan shrieked. Of course you didn't. I said, I had loyally keep it locked up this whole time. I planned on never bringing it out ever. But now I have no choice. I nodded at Lawyerly. He immediately pulled out a second document and set it on the table. This is the holding agreement signed by Mr. Guyan and Ms. Swan all those years ago. Lawyerly said. It bears both party signatures and fingerprints and was notarized by a public notary. It is fully legally binding. All the directors crowded around to look at the agreement. When they finished reading, every single one of them was stunned. They never could have guessed Gwen was the real majority shareholder of the company. They never could have guessed the shares in Swan's hands were only being held for someone else. So, President Gu is the real boss of the company this whole time. Holy __. That's the craziest plot twist I've ever seen. No wonder President Gu's so confident. He's the one who calls the shots around here. Duh. President Sue is so out of line. She's holding President Gu's shares and still treated him like that. The directors chattered among themselves, their looks towards Swan full of contempt. Swan collapsed into her chair, eyes vacant. She never would have thought the man who once willingly gave her everything would have kept such a devastating ace up his sleeve. She thought she had control of everything. But in the end, She was nothing but a puppet holding shares for someone else. Now, everyone's on the same page, right? I looked around at all the directors. I am the actual controlling owner of Starlight Technology. I have the authority to make every single decision for this company. President Ge, we're sorry for misunderstanding you earlier. Director Jiang was the first to stand up, bowing to me. We all support you. We support President Ge. Support President Ge. The rest of the directors stood up one after another, voicing their support for me. Swan watched everything unfold in front of her and completely broke down. No, this isn't real. She mumbled. You're all being fooled. He's lying to all of you. I looked at her. Voice calm, Swan. You are suspended from your post as CEO effective immediately. I will take over all company operations for the time being. You can't do this to me. Swan screamed. I'm your wife. How could you do this to me? Wife? I scoffed. The second Shenzhe wrapped his arm around your waist and called you his wife, you stopped being mine. Suwon looked at my cold gaze and finally realized she had lost completely, utterly, and irrevocably. First thing after I took over the company, I reinstated all tech licenses. In just 1 hour, every single company product was back up and running. Customer complaints died down. Stock price started creeping back up. Every employee and shareholder breathed a sigh of relief. Everyone was thanking their lucky stars President Gu was here. Otherwise, Starlight Tech would have been toast for good. Swan, meanwhile, was suspended at home pending further investigation. She's barred from entering the office, barred from touching any company business. Everything she once had gone overnight. I thought that it'd be the end of it. I never saw Shenzhe's counterattack coming, and it was unhinged. Monday morning, I'd barely walked through the office doors when old Joe came barreling in. President Gu, we got a problem. Undercenters will hit the fan. Old Joe panted. Panicked. What's wrong? I asked. Check the internet. Old Joe held his phone out to me. I took the phone and pulled up Weibo. A hashtag when a Starlight TechChronic domestic abuser drove away. Wife's first love was already #1 trending. Under the hashtag was a long essay written by none other than Shenz. In the essay, Shenzhe cast himself as the lovelorn victim. He claimed he and Swan were college sweethearts. Head over heels for years until I stole Sue Wan with dirty tricks and forced her to marry me. He called me a violent, controlling domestic abuser that beat Swan on the regular. Said Swan had been living in hell for the past 4 years. He said he came back to the country specifically to save Swan from her nightmare. Also claimed I'd suspended the tech licenses on purpose to sabotage the company out of jealousy over his relationship with Suwon. Then used my majority shareholder status to fire Swan from her CEO post so I could take over the entire company for myself. The post was capped off with several photos of Swan's injuries. Visible bruises covered her face and arms in the shots. She looked downright pathetic. The post blew up instantly, causing total chaos. Netizens with zero context flock to Shenzhe's side. Holy __, Guan is actually this kind of monster. That's terrifying. He beats his own wife. Swan is so unlucky. Stuck under this guy's thumb for 4 years. Shenzhe is such a ride-or-die lover. He even risked getting fired to save his girl. Demanding Guyan apologize. Give the CEO seat back to Swan. A bunch of rabid netizens even showed up outside Starlight Tech building with protest signs, demanding I get the hell out of the company and apologize to Swan. The company's reputation took a massive hit. Tons of ongoing partnership talks were put on hold indefinitely. This Shinza is so __, shameless. Old Zhao fumed. He's the one that cheated with Swan, and he's playing the victim here. I stared at the essay on the phone, my gaze ice cold. I'd known Shenzhe wouldn't go down that easy, but I never thought he'd stoop this low. Spin this whole pack of lies just to smear me. What's up with those photos? I asked. Definitely fake. Old Joe said those injuries on Swan. She definitely gave them to herself just to sell Shenz's little act. I nodded. Swan and I had been married 4 years. I'd never laid a finger on her. I never even raised my voice at her, let alone hit her. Those injuries on her 100% self-inflicted. President Ge, What do we do now? Old Joe asked anxiously. Everyone online is dragging you. The company's reputation is trashed. Calm down, I said evenly. He wants to play. I'll play right along with him all the way. But all the Nizens are buying Shenze's story right now. If we don't put out a clarification fast, this is going to get really bad. Old Joe said, we will clarify. I said, just not right now. Then when Old Joe asked, wait till he gets too high on his own hype. Wait till everyone buys his crap. Then we drop the receipts and humiliate him so bad he'll never show his face again. I said. Old Joe nodded at my confident grin. Got it. I'm with you. I ignored the online rumors and stuck to my daily work. But my parents saw the trending news and called me right away. Guan, is all that stuff online true? My mom's voice was tight with worry and rage. Of course. It's fake. I said fake? Then where did all those photos come from? My mom pressed. Guan, your dad. And I raised you to know real men never hit women. How could you do something this horrible? Mom, I never hit Swan. I swear. Isaid in frustration. All those photos are faked. Swan did it herself. She cheated on me with Shenzi first. Now she's playing the victim to frame me. Don't you dare lie to us. My dad's voice boomed through the phone. We saw the photos. Swan was beaten black and blue, and you're still denying it. Guan, we're so disappointed in you. Dad, please trust me. I didn't do any of this. I said, we don't buy it. My dad snapped, get home right now. Apologize to Swan and give the CEO position back to her, or you're no son of ours. With that, he hung up. I stared at my phone and shook my head helplessly. If my own parents didn't believe me, what chance did I have with random netizens who knew nothing about the truth? But I didn't care. The innocent stay innocent. The guilty never hide. I knew the truth would come out sooner or later. When Swan saw public opinion was fully on her side, hope flared in her chest. She thought if she cranked up the online pressure enough, I'd fold and she could take back control of the company. So, she posted a video online. In the clip, she sobbed hysterically, pouring out her so-called horrific abuse to viewers, and dropped hints that I not only beat her, but also cheated on her with other women. That video blew the controversy wide open. More and more people bought her story. And the backlash against me got worse by the hour. Even some media outlets hopped on the bandwagon, painting me as a completely irredeemable scumbag. Shenze was even more smug when he saw how the public sentiment was going their way. He posted a long open letter demanding I immediately apologize to Suwon and hand the company back to her. If I didn't, he'd sue me in court and expose more of my so-called crimes. Watching Shinza and Swan play off each other online, I curled my lips into a cold smile. Dance for me. You too. Dance harder. The higher you climb, the harder you fall. I texted loyally. Release everything we prepared. All of it, he replied instantly. Copy that. A far bigger storm was brewing. But Shenze and Suwon were still gloating over their supposed victory. They had no idea their days were already numbered. At exactly 300 p.m., Lawyer Lee's Weibo account suddenly dropped a full-length statement. Its title, Factual Declaration Regarding Shenze and Swan's Marital Infidelity, Conspiracy to Embezzle Xinhua Tech Assets, and False Accusation Against Mr. Go Yen. The statement laid out the full timeline in explicit detail. From Suwon and Shen's rekindling their old flame 2 years prior to the two plotting to siphon off company assets, to Shen's openly taunting Yen at the executive meeting, and finally to the pair cooking up lies to accuse Guan of domestic abuse. All supporting evidence was attached at the end of the statement, including one, full security footage of Suwon and Shenze being intimate in hotels, offices, and vehicles spanning a full 2 years. 2. Screenshots of the pair's WeChat conversations filled with explicit dirty talk and detailed plans to siphon company funds and push Guan out of his own company. 3 bank records proving the pair transferred 32 million yuan in company assets, all deposited into Shen's personal bank account for 17 forged contracts created by the pair to embezzle company funds. 5. Testimony from HR manager Lin. confirming Swan abused her authority to help Shinza embezzle public funds. 6. Official hospital report proving that injuries on Swan's body were faked with cosmetics. 7. For years' worth of travel records and security footage of Guyen and Su Wan, proving Guyen never committed domestic abuse against Swan. Every piece of evidence was clear, irrefutable, and ironclad the second the post went live. It blew up the entire internet. Netizens were floored. No one saw this twist coming. Shenzhe was the homewrecker. Swan was the cheating spouse. They didn't just cheat. They plotted to steal the company's assets, then frame Guyen for domestic abuse. Those injury photos, all fake public opinion flipped overnight. The netizens who'd been screaming for Guyen's blood days prior were now tripping over themselves to apologize. My bad, Mr. Gu. I totally judged you wrong. Shenzhe and Swan are straight up disgusting. They cheated and had the nerve to play the victim. Holy underscore, this twist is so satisfying. I'm getting secondhand embarrassment for everyone who hated on him. Swan's acting is Oscar-worthy. What a waste. She didn't go into Hollywood. Stand with Mr. Gu. Throw these two scumbags in jail where they belong. Hashtag S like hashtag Shenzhe homewrecker. Hashtag Suin cheater. Hashtag apologize. The Guan instantly shot to the top of the trending list, pushing all the old smear topics off the front page. Shenzhe and Swan's personal info, home addresses, and phone numbers were doxed by netizens within minutes. Their phones were blown up nonstop with abusive calls and texts. The comment sections under Shen's old statements were flooded with hate, forcing him to turn off Weibo comments entirely. Swan's old crying videos went viral for all the wrong reasons, with everyone roasting her as actress of the year downstairs at Xinghui Tech headquarters. The old protest crowds were gone. In their place were crowds of Guyen supporters, holding signs and chanting, "Stand with Mr. Gu, punish the cheating scumbags." The company's stock spiked 30% in an hour. All existing partners called in to confirm they wanted to extend their contracts, and tons of new clients reached out of the blue to pitch partnership deals. Meanwhile, Swan was at home scrolling through the news online. The second she saw the evidence, she screamed and threw her phone against the wall. "No, this isn't real. This isn't real." She screamed hysterically. She never could have guessed Guyen had this much dirt on her and that he'd drop it all at once. Her reputation was toast. Her dream of becoming CEO was shattered for good. Just then, her spare phone rang. It was Shenzhe. Swan hesitated for a second, then picked up. "Swan, have you seen the internet?" Shenzhe's voice was shaking with panic and rage. "That bastard Gu Yin leaked everything. Everyone is cursing us out now." "I know," Swan said, her voice flat and lifeless. "What we do now? What the hell do we do?" Shenzhe snapped, panic lacing his voice. "I don't even dare step outside. The second I do, people recognize me and chew me out to my face. How the hell should I know?" Swan snapped back, furious. "This is all your fault. If you hadn't run your mouth at the executive meeting, would we be stuck in this mess right now? My fault." Shenzhe let out a cold sneer. "Who was the one begging and crying to be with me back then? Who swore we'd take over the company together? Now that underscore hit the fan. You're pinning it all on me. Who else would I blame?" Swan said, "If it weren't for you, would I be this underscore over right now?" Swan, "Don't you underscore push it." Shenzhe said, "You were in on the company asset embezzlement. 2. If I go down, you're coming with me. You're threatening me." Swan said, "This isn't a threat. It's a heads up." Shenzhe said, "We're on the same hook right now. You better find a way to bury this, or both of us are done for." With that, Shen's hung up. Swan clutched her phone, collapsing to the floor. She knew Shenzhe was right. She was complicit in the asset embezzlement. If Gu pursued this, she'd end up in jail. 2. The more Su Wan thought about it, the more terrified she got. She decided to go beg Gu for mercy. She'd throw all her dignity out the window to beg for his forgiveness. She'd do anything as long as he let her off the hook. So, Swan changed clothes and hailed a cab to the company. But when she got to the building entrance, the security guard stopped her. "Sorry, Ms. Sue, CEO Gu said. He doesn't want to see you. The guard said, his face blank. Let me in. I have something really important to talk to him about. Swan said frantic. Sorry, without CEO Gu's permission, I can't let you in. The guard said. Sue, one had no other choice. She could only wait downstairs outside the company. She told herself if she showed enough sincerity, Gu would definitely see her. But she waited from 300 p.m. all the way to 8 p.m. Gu never came out. It got dark gradually and a light rain started to fall. Swan stood in the rain, soaked to the bone. She stared up at the light from Gu's office upstairs, her tears mixing with the rain. She finally got it. Gu would never ever forgive her. Swan stood in the rain for 3 straight hours. I never showed. She dragged herself home, soul crushed, the second she stepped into the empty house. Regret and despair swallowed her whole. She thought back to the days we built our business from scratch. We were broke back then, but we were happy. I'd bike her to client meetings every single day. We'd split a pack of instant noodles for dinner when we got home at night. Life was hard, but she never felt happier. Then the company blew up and she changed. Vain, arrogant, too, entitled to appreciate what she had. She threw everything we'd poured blood, sweat, and tears into down the drain. Cheated on the man who loved her more than anything. All for some smooth-talking pretty boy who only knew how to spew sweet nothings. The more Swan thought about it, the worse the regret hit. She broke down sobbing. Her phone buzzed right then. It was her mom. She hesitated for a second, then picked up. Hey, Mom. Her voice was thick with tears. Juan, what's wrong? Are you crying? Her mom sounded panicked. Mom, I'm so sorry. Swan sobbed. I messed everything up. All of it. Calm down. Juan, take it slow. Her mom soothed. What happened? Talk to me. Swan told her mom the whole story. Of course. She left out the part where she cheated and siphoned company funds. All she said was that I was an ungrateful bastard who'd stolen the company from her and smeared her name online. Her mom flew into a rage the second she finished talking. That Gwen, with a total piece of __, she snarled. If we hadn't bailed him out back then, would he be where he is now? He's got some nerve pulling this crap on you now that he's made it big. Mom, what do I do now? Swan wailed. I have nothing left. Nothing. Don't you worry. Mom's got you. Her mom said firmly. I'm calling your dad and your brother right now. We're all going to confront Guyen. Make him pay. There's no way he gets away with this. Thanks, Mom, Swan said, voice thick with relief the second she hung up. A tiny spark of hope lit up in Swan's chest. She knew her family had connections. As soon as her parents and brother showed up, I'd definitely cave. I might even give the company back to her, she thought. Early next morning, Swan's parents showed up at Starlight Tech with her brother and a dozen other relatives. The whole crew loud and aggressive. They stormed straight into the company lobby, yelling and causing a scene. Guyen, get out here, Sue's dad roared. You ungrateful leech. Give my daughter her company back now. Giu Yen, show your face or will this whole place. Sue's mom screamed right after him. Swan's brother didn't waste any time. He grabbed a nearby trash can and slammed it to the floor. All of you stop right now. Lo ran over with a handful of security guards. Keep this up and we're calling the cops. Cops, go ahead. Call them. Suzdatskov. I'd like to see what they can do to us. We're here to see my son-in-law. None of your business. Exactly. Go get Guyen out here now. Sue's mom snapped. Or we're not leaving. All the employees in the lobby gathered around to watch the chaos, whispering and pointing at Sue Wan's family. That's ex-manager Sue's family. They're so trashy. For real, she's the one who cheated. And they're blaming CEO Gu. Makes perfect sense. Swan's family heard the whispers and their rage only got worse. What the hell are you all talking about? Sue's mom Srikiv, pointing at the employees. You don't know. Jack, that bastard Gwen tricked my daughter. Right then, I stepped out of the elevator. What's all the noise? I said, voice ice cold. The whole lobby went dead silent. The second Sue's dad saw me, he charged straight for me. Gu Yen, you ungrateful bastard. You finally got the guts to show up. He jabbed a finger right in my face and snarled. Answer me. Why did you steal my daughter's company? Why did you drag her name through the mud online? I didn't steal her company and I didn't defame her. I said calmly. The company was mine from the start. All that evidence posted online. It's 100% real. Real? What the hell are you talking about? Swan's father scoffed. I don't buy it. You must have faked all of it. I know my daughter better than anyone. She would never do something that scummy. Whether you believe it or not is none of my business. I said, if you're here to cause trouble, I suggest you get lost right now. Otherwise, I'm calling the cops. Call the cops. You wouldn't dare. Swan's mother snapped. Unless you give the company back to my daughter and apologize to her today. We're not leaving. Hell yeah, we're not leaving. The other relatives chimed in immediately. Swan's little brother even charged at me, fists raised, ready to throw a punch. You son of a underscore, I'll beat you to death. I ducked to avoid his punch, then turned to the security guard standing nearby. Call the cops. Yes, mister. Goo. The guard pulled out his phone right away and dialed 110. When Swan's brother saw the guard actually calling the police, he got a little spooked, but he still talked tough. Calling the cops won't do. Underscore, we're family. Cops can't interfere with family stuff. Family. I let out a cold laugh. The second Swan cheated on me, we stopped being family. The cops arrived shortly. After getting the full story, they issued a warning to Swan's family, but they completely ignored it and kept screaming and causing chaos. The cops had no choice but to take all the troublemakers back to the police station. Swan's parents, her little brother, and several of the most aggressive relatives were all taken into custody. When Swan got the news, she rushed to the police station immediately, trying to bail her parents and brother out. But the cops told her they were suspected of picking quarrels and provoking trouble and had to be detained for 15 days. Helpless, Swan could only watch as her family was locked up in the detention center. She stood at the entrance of the police station, too shocked to even cry. She had thought her family would back her up and get even for her. She never expected they'd end up getting themselves locked up instead. Swan finally realized no one was coming to save her. She was on her own when Swan's family got detained. She was completely crushed by despair. She was well and truly abandoned by everyone. Her parents and brother were locked up. All relatives and friends were avoiding her like the plague. She couldn't get a hold of Shenzei either. She had absolutely nothing left, but she refused to go down without a fight. She couldn't swallow the fact that the company she'd slaved over for 4 years got snatched away by me just like that. She couldn't stand falling from a hot-shot female, so everyone looked up to a pariah. Everyone wanted to run out of town. She decided to pull one last Hail Mary siphon off the company's last remaining fund and bolt. She knew the finance department still had $30 million in liquid capital sitting in the account. Get that money and she could skip the country. Start a brand new life abroad. So Swan started plotting how to steal the cash. First, she reached out to Sister Wong, the finance manager she'd personally promoted and who'd always been loyal to her. Swan was 100% sure Sister Wong would have her back. That night, Swan arranged to meet Sister Wong at a coffee shop. Sister Wong, I need your help. Su Wong looked right at her as she spoke. Presidente, just say the word. Sister Wong replied, I want you to move the $30 million from the company account to my personal bank account. Su Wong said. Sister Wong froze, then blurted out anxiously, Presidente, I can't do that. That's the company's operating cash. I can't touch it without President Gu's signature. I'm still the one calling the shots here. Swan's voice shot up. I'm the president of this company. If I say move the money, you move the money. But President Gu has already taken over the company, and you've been suspended. Sister Wong explained. If I transfer that money to you, I'll end up in jail. Sister Wong, I'm begging you. Su Wong pleaded through tears. I'm out of options. Without that money, I'm as good as dead. Please help me. Once I get abroad, I'll make it worth your while. I swear, President Sue, it's not that I don't want to help you. Sister Wong's face twisted with discomfort. I really can't do this. It's illegal. Sister Wong, have you forgotten who got you this promotion? Sue Wong played the loyalty card when she saw Sister Wong hesitating. Without me, you'd still be stuck as some low-level accountant. Now that I'm in trouble, this is how you repay me. Sister Wong went silent. Looking at Swan's pathetic state, she started to waver. After all, Swan was the one who'd given her the big break that changed her career. Fine. After a long, tense pause, Sister Wong finally nodded. I'll help you, but you have to promise me you won't snitch on me if things go south. You have my word. Su Wong answered immediately. I will never rat you out ever. Good, Sister Wong said. I'll transfer the money to your account at 10 a.m. tomorrow, but once you get it, you bolt immediately. If President Gu finds out, we're both screwed. I know. Thank you so much. Sister Wong, you're my lifesaver. Su Wong Gu said excitedly. Su Wong thought her plan was foolproof. What she didn't know was that right after she left, Sister Wong called me and spilled every single detail of her scheme. Truth was, I'd seen this coming from a mile away. I'd already told Sister Wong that if Swan ever came to her asking to move company funds, she had to report to me first. Even though Swan had promoted her, Sister Wong knew right from wrong. She knew what Swan was doing was illegal, and she had no intention of going to jail for her. So she chose to side with me at 10 a.m. sharp. The next day, Swan showed up at the company's finance department. Sister Wong was already waiting for her. President Su, the money's all ready. Sister Wong handed Swan a transfer slip. Sign this, and I'll send the money right to your account. Swan grabbed the slip and glanced at it. It said the transfer amount was $30 million with her name as the recipient. Her hands were shaking so bad she could barely hold a pen. She signed her name immediately. All done, Sister Wong. Hurry up and send it. Swan said. Got it. Sister Wong nodded, picked up the phone, and got ready to call the bank. Just then, the office door slammed open. I walked in, cops right on my heels. The second Swan saw me and the cops, all color drained from her face. The transfer slip in her hand clattered to the floor. Guan, what are you doing here? Swan's voice trembled violently. If I wasn't here, how else would I catch an embezzling rat like you? I said icily. No, that's not true. She forced me. Su Won pointed at Sister Wong. She offered to transfer the money for me. This isn't my fault. President Su, how can you say that? Sister Wong snapped furiously. You were the one who begged me to help you transfer the funds. I recorded the entire conversation. Sister Wong pulled out her phone and played the recording of her talk with Su Won from the previous night. The audio clearly captured the full process. How Su Won begged her to make the transfer and how she promised to reward her for the favor. The moment Swan finished listening, she collapsed completely to the floor. Miss Swan, a cop stepped in front of her holding up an arrest warrant. You are suspected of embezzlement. We are placing you under arrest in accordance with the law. The cops cuffed Swan, staring at the cold metal cuffs. She finally broke down completely. Guan, I hate you. I'll haunt you even after I'm dead. She screamed hysterically. Estelle de Hare said nothing, just watched quietly as the cops led her away. She brought this on herself. No one else is to blame. After Swan was taken away, all roadblocks inside the company were cleared. Next on the agenda was officially removing Su Won from her post as CEO. A week later, Starlight Tech held its annual general meeting of shareholders. All shareholders were present, and I chaired the meeting. Good day, fellow shareholders. I looked at the audience below and spoke. We've called this AGM for two main points of business. First, to vote on the motion to remove Swan as CEO. Second, to elect a new CEO for the company. First up, Lawyer Lee will walk you through everything Su Won did during her tenure as CEO. Lawyer Lee took the stage and laid out the full facts in detail. Su Won cheated on me with Shenzhe, conspired to siphon off company assets, framed me on false charges, and even tried to flee the country with embezzled funds. He also presented all supporting evidence to the room after reviewing the evidence. The shareholders were furious. Swan has gone way too far. How could she do this? She's a disgrace to the entire company. We have to strip her of her CEO title right now. And we need to hold her legally liable. Make her pay back every cent the company lost. One after another, the shareholders spoke up, all demanding Swan be removed from her CEO post. All right, I said, now we'll hold a formal vote. All shareholders in favor of removing Swan as CEO, please raise your hand. Every single hand in the room went up. The motion passed unanimously. I hereby announce. I looked around the room, enunciating every word clearly, effective immediately. Swan is officially removed from her position as CEO of this company. Thunderous applause erupted from the audience. Now, moving on to the second order of business. I said, election of the new CEO. I nominate myself for the position of CEO of Starlight Tech. Any objections? I second. General Manager Jang was the first to raise his hand. I agreed too. Agreed. Mr. Gu is the only one fit for the job. All shareholders raised their hands in approval. The vote passed unanimously again. Thank you all for your trust. I bowed to the audience. I promise you all I will lead Starlight Tech to even greater heights, and I will never let you down. The room erupted in thunderous applause once more after the AGM concluded. I officially took office as Starlight Tech's new CEO and immediately rolled out a full restructuring of the company's management. I fired all of Swan's cronies and promoted a group of capable, responsible longtime employees. Lau was appointed vice president in charge of RAN manager. Lin was named head of HR, overseeing all human resources operations. Sister Wang, who had blown the whistle on Su Wan, was promoted to finance manager. With everyone's combined efforts, Starlight Tech quickly resumed normal operations. What's more, thanks to my return, many of the clients we had lost came flooding back. Instead of dropping, the company's performance actually surpassed all previous records. After Swan was taken into police custody, she was released on bail for attempted embezzlement and voluntary confession of her crimes the second she got out of the detention center. She came straight to the company to beg for my forgiveness, but she couldn't even get past the front gate. Security told her I had no interest in seeing her. Swan had nowhere else to go, so she waited outside the company gate from morning till night. Finally, when it was time for me to get off work, I walked out of the office building and spotted her standing by the entrance. She was wearing tattered clothes. Her hair was a mess. Her face was deathly pale, and she looked completely worn out. She was nothing like the glamorous, high-flying female CEO she used to be. The second she saw me walk out, she rushed over. "Gu Yan," she screamed. I stopped in my tracks and stared at her, my voice icy. "What are you even doing here?" "Gun?" I know I was wrong. Swan dropped to her knees with thud in front of me. "I really know I messed up. Please forgive me. I never should have gotten together with Shinza. Never should have siphoned off the company's money. Never should have framed you. It's all my fault. You can beat me. Yell at me. Do whatever you want. Just please forgive me. We were married for God's sake. Just give me another chance for the 4 years we spend together. Yeah, I'll never mess up again. I'll treat you right, build a proper life with you, and make everything up to you." Company staff and passers-by gathered around, pointing and whispering at us. I stared at Swan kneeling on the ground, not a single flicker of emotion in my chest. "Get up," I said. "This is the company entrance. It doesn't look good for people to see us like this. I won't get up until you forgive me." Swan sobbed. "Suit yourself," I said with that. I turned and walked away. "Go, Yen. Don't leave." Su Yen screamed behind me. "I really know I messed up. Please, just give me one more shot." I didn't look back and got straight into my car. Swan watched my car disappear into the night, sobbing her heart out. She knew she had lost me for good. Swan knelt outside the company entrance all night. When I showed up for work the next morning, she was still there. Her lips were cracked, her face even paler. She looked utterly pathetic. But I didn't soften up one bit. Anyone who evokes pity has their own damn faults to blame. She brought this entire mess on herself. I ignored her and walked straight into the building. When Swan saw I was blowing her off, she finally couldn't hold on anymore. Her vision went black and she passed out. Bystanders immediately called 120 and rushed her to the hospital. Swan stayed in the hospital for 3 days. No one came to visit her the entire time. Her parents and brother were still in lockup. Shanzi had bailed and vanished off the face of the earth. And every relative and friend of hers was avoiding her like the plague, lying in the hospital bed, staring at the empty ward. She was drowning in loneliness and despair. It finally hit her how stupid she'd been back then. For a deadbeat loser of a man. She'd lost a husband who loved her more than anyone, lost a career she'd busted her ass to build, lost every family member and friend she had. She had absolutely nothing left. The more she thought about it, the more regret ate at her until she broke down sobbing after she got discharged. Swan came back to the company again. This time, she didn't kneel at the entrance. She just stood there quietly waiting for me, from morning straight through to night. I spotted her when I got off work, hesitated for a second, then walked over. "What the hell do you want?" I asked. "Guan, I need to talk to you." Swan looked up at me, her eyes full of pleading. "We've got nothing to talk about." I said, "Just 10 minutes. She begged. 10 minutes is all I need. After that, I'll never bother you again." Looking at how pathetic she was, my resolve softened for a second. "Fine," I said. "Come with me." I took Swan to a nearby cafe. We picked a window seat and sat down, and the server brought over 2 cups of coffee. Swan stared at the coffee in front of her without saying a word. It was a long time before she lifted her head to look at me. "Gung, I know it's way too late for apologies," she said, "but I still need to say it. I'm sorry. I never should have betrayed you. Never should have siphoned company funds. Never should have framed you. I did so many horrible things to you. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. These 3 days in the hospital, I've thought about a lot. I thought about our college days, about when we built this company from scratch together. We were broke back then, but we were happy. You'd take me for rides on your bike every day, make me instant noodles at night. Back then, I was the only thing in your eyes. But then I changed. I got vain, greedy, got blinded by all the flashy temptations out there. I actually betrayed you for that Shinza. I was so stupid. Guyen, if I could turn back time, I'd never do any of that again. I'd love you properly. Build a real life with you the way I should have." I looked at her, my tone flat. Time doesn't turn back. I know. Swan's eyes turned red. I know nothing I say matters now, but I still need to ask. When did you find out about me and Shenzei? 2 years ago. I said. Swan froze. 2 years ago. She stared at me in disbelief. That long? I nodded. 2 years ago. I found Shenzei's shirt and condoms at home. I knew ever since then. Then why didn't you call me out on it back then? Swan asked. Because I wanted to give you a chance. I said, I wanted to see if you'd come to your senses. We had 7 years of history together. I didn't think you'd throw it all away that easily. I waited for you for 2 years. In those 2 years, I gave you countless chances. I'd intentionally come home late, pretend I had no idea what was going on. I wanted you to come clean to me on your own and cut ties with Shenzei for good. But you didn't. You just got worse. Not only did you stay with Shenz, you conspired with him to siphon off company assets, trying to boot me out entirely. It wasn't until the executive summit, when Shenzei called you his wife in front of everyone, that I finally gave up on us. Swan broke down harder the second she heard those words. So you knew this whole time. I've been putting on an act in front of you this entire time. I'm the biggest idiot alive. That's right. I said you thought you were so smart that you had everyone fooled. But really, you were just lying to yourself. I started laying out my plan ages ago. I got loyally on board to collect every last piece of evidence against you. 2, I reached out to every shareholder and laid out the whole truth. I even got Sister Wong on my side early on to keep tabs on you. So, the second Shenzei stepped on that stage and said those words, your fates were sealed. Swan collapsed into her chair, eyes blank. It finally hit her. She'd been nothing but a laughingstock in my eyes. This entire time, she thought she had everything under control. But really, every single move she made was under my thumb. Guan, do you hate me? Swan looked up at me and asked. I went silent for a long time, then said, I used to, but not anymore. Why? Swan asked. Because you're not worth the effort of hating anymore. I said to me, you're just a stranger now. Tears streamed down Swan's face again. She knew I'd truly moved on. What we had was gone for good. Thank you. Guan Swan wiped her tears away and said, Thank you for telling me all this. I can finally let go now. I won't bother you ever again. I wish you happiness. With that, Swan stood up, turned around, and walked out of the cafe. I watched her back leave and felt nothing. No stare, no emotion. It was like watching a total stranger walk away. From this point on, we live our own lives. No contact, no interference. After wrapping up my talk with Swan, I got down to the final settlement work. First up, the divorce proceedings with Swan. I retained loyally to file a divorce lawsuit with the court, since Swan had cheated during the marriage and embezzled joint marital assets. The court ruled in favor of the divorce. In the end, Swan got nothing in the settlement and was ordered to pay full compensation for all losses incurred by Xinhua Tech, totaling 32 million yuan. Suwon did not appeal and accepted the court's ruling. Next was handling the case against Shenzhe. He was caught by the police at the airport when he tried to flee with embezzled funds. He not only confessed the full details of his plot with Swan to siphon off company assets, but also ratted out his other prior criminal offenses. After trial, the court ruled that Shenzhe's acts constituted embezzlement and fraud and sentenced him to 6 years in prison. Su won for attempted embezzlement of funds and meritorious service. Exposing Shenzhe's other crimes, was sentenced to 1 year in prison with 2 years probation. The day the verdict came down, Swan sent me a text with only 3 words. I'm sorry. I didn't reply. I blocked her number straight away, and we never had any contact again after that. Last up was the company's restructuring and operations. I led the team to carry out a full overhaul of the business, optimize management systems, raise employee benefits, and pump more investment into Rand under my leadership. Xinhua Tech grew better by the day. We rolled out multiple hit products, one after another, that were wildly popular in the market, and the company's market cap skyrocketed nonstop on its 5th anniversary. Xinhua Tech successfully listed on the main board with its market value exceeding 20 billion yuan. On listing day, I brought the company's core team to ring the bell at the exchange. Staring at the flickering stock ticker on the big screen, a million thoughts ran through my head. 5 years ago, I founded Xinhua Tech with Swan. 5 years later, I got it listed on the capital market all by myself. I'd been through way too much these 5 years. Joy, happiness, pain, betrayal. But I pulled through all of it in the end. I proved myself with results. I wasn't some kept loser living off his wife. I was a real entrepreneur at the listing celebration banquet. Old Joe walked up to me, holding a glass of wine. Congratulations. Mr. Goo. Old Joe said with a grin. We finally made it. Yeah, we finally made it. I replied with a smile. This is all everyone's hard work. No, this is all you. Old Joe shook his head. Xinhua Tech would have been dead and buried long ago without you. I smiled and said nothing, then raised my glass to all the employees. Thank you all. You've all worked so hard these past 5 years. Cheers to everyone. Thank you, Mr. Goo. Everyone raised their glasses in unison and downed their drinks in one go. The vibe at the banquet was electric. Everyone was over the moon, looking at all their smiling faces. I felt completely fulfilled. I'd earned every bit of this. After the banquet ended, I walked to the riverbank alone. The river wind ruffled the hem of my coat, carrying a salty dampness with it. I stared at the lights reflected on the water, completely calm inside. Everything in the past was history. All that pain and hurt had blown away with the wind. I was living a great life now, a successful career, close friends, total freedom. I'd finally become the person I'd always wanted to be. I pulled out my phone and opened my photo album. There was a picture of Sue Wan and I in there taken on our college graduation day. Both of us were grinning from ear to ear in the photo. I stared at it in silence for a long time before finally hitting delete. From that moment on, that name would be gone from my life forever. Time flies. 2 years have passed in the blink of an eye. Starshine Tech has become a top player in the industry, with its market cap exceeding 50 billion yuan. I've also made a name for myself as a renowned domestic entrepreneur, but I still keep a low profile, living in the same old apartment I had before. Every morning, I go jogging by the river. On weekends, I go fishing or hiking with Lau and the guys. Life is calm and really fulfilling. Lots of people have tried to set me up with a girlfriend, saying, I've got a successful career. I'm good looking. I could land any great girl I want. I've politely turned them all down. After everything that happened with Swan, I don't have high hopes for romance anymore. Flying solo isn't bad at all. Actually, I'm free, relax, no strings attached. Of course, if I meet the right person down the line, I won't shut the door on that. But right now, I just want to enjoy my life and run my company well. One day, I was going through documents in my office when my assistant walked in. Mr. Gu, there's a woman here to see you. She says her name is Swan. I froze for a second. Swan, what's she doing here? Send her in. I said, got it, the assistant replied. Seconds later, Swan walked in. She was wearing plain clothes, her hair tied up in a ponytail. She looked a bit more lively than she did 2 years ago, but there was still exhaustion and world weariness in her eyes. Guan, long time no see. Swan said, long time no see. I replied flatly, what do you want from me? I came to say goodbye. She said, I'm leaving the city. Where to? I asked. Somewhere no one knows me. She said, I can't stop thinking about the past. When I'm here, I want a fresh start. Somewhere new. I nodded. That's not a bad idea. I said, Guan, I know I did a lot of awful things to you. She said, I'll never be able to pay you back for everything I owe you in this lifetime, but I still want to say I'm sorry. I accept your apology. I said, let the past stay in the past. Thank you. Her eyes welled up with tears. Gu Yen, you deserve to be happy. I will be, I said. Swan smiled at me, then turned and walked out of the office. What's his hair back? Not a single emotional ripple stirring in my chest. It was like watching a total stranger. I never saw Sue One again after that. Word is she moved to a remote small city, got a job as an elementary school teacher, and lives a quiet, simple life. No one there knows she used to be that high-flying, glamorous CEO, or the mistakes she made in the past. That's fine by me. We're both living our own lives. No more bothering each other. Another year passed. On Starshine Tech's 6th anniversary, I led my team to launch our new generation AI product. The launch grabbed global attention instantly. Starshine Tech market cap soared again, breaking through 100 billion yuan, and I became a regular on the Forbes China Rich list. But I still kept a low profile. I donated 10% of my personal shares to charity to fund schooling for kids in impoverished areas and support young tech entrepreneurs. I want to use what I have to help as many people as possible. One day, I went to the riverside again. The sun was setting, golden light spilling over the glistening water. I stood there watching the distant sunset when my phone rang. It was Lao Yang, a college student I'd sponsored. He'd graduated already and started his own tech company. Uncle Gu, I've got great news. Our company's product officially went live today. Lao Yang said excitedly. That's amazing. I said happily. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Uncle Gu, I never would have made it this far without your help. Lao Yang said, don't mention it. I smiled and said, that's all you. You earned every bit of it. After a quick chat with old Yang, I hung up the phone. I gazed at the setting sun in the distance, a soft, relieved smile spreading across my face. Everything from the past gone up in smoke. All those betrayals and hurts, they're just fuel that fed my growth. Right now, I'm calm at my core, unshakable, And I no longer fixate on old grudges. I've learned to let go, to forgive, and to love myself. I know the best life isn't one that never runs into storms. It's the one where you pull through the storm, still able to face life with a smile. The sea breeze ruffled the hem of my clothes, carrying a warm, briny scent. I took a deep breath, soaking in the sun's gentle warmth. I knew it for a fact. My life had only just begun.